Hola, what's up everybody? Welcome to my one and only V2 King, also known as Alber guide. We're going to go over everything from his stats, his pros, his cons, what's good on him, some medal suggestions, and all of the above that you could ever need to know about the one and only King when playing him and how you should be playing him. If you do not know what his skills or his character traits do, I strongly recommend going in the game and reading them. You can see those either in your locked characters or see them at the current banner if he is on right now at the time you're watching this. So, other than that, let's get into it and dive right in. Let's look at our stat recommendations. What would I recommend building on him? For this meta, probably just go straight HP and attack. The more HP you have, the more you're going to heal when you get knocked back, so that will work in your favor when getting knocked back by a variety of other characters. And it'll also work in your favor when we get to the medal sets. There is a really cool medal set that I think can be phenomenal on him if you choose to run that or are able to run that. Anyways, so overall HP attack is going to be better. He does have a lower HP attack or HP stat. I just want to emphasize that. So generally attack defense is probably better. If we ever get into a meta where attack buffs are better, you're going to be much better off with the attack defense stat instead of full HP attack. That's kind of how the meta shifts. So if there's a lot of attack buffers, you're going to be better with attack defense. If there's a lot of ignore defense attacks, then obviously just go HP because your defense is obviously doing nothing at that point, which is kind of what we're in right now. So go full HP attack. That's where I'm at and where I land with that overall for Alber King V2. Next, let's talk about his pros. I think he's a phenomenal unit. He is excellent in the meta. I don't think he's extremely oppressive, but he is a very good anti-meta. For those of you that don't know what that means, it basically means whatever's being mostly played in the meta, he's very good at playing against them and in order to counter them. So there's a lot of gear 5s. There's a lot of people with defense buffs, and that's mainly what he's kind of created to do, is counter people with defense buffs. So anyone from Gear 5 Luffy to Kid Law to even someone like the Katakuri who just got buffed, they all get defense buffs and you destroy them if they have a defense buff. And if you get knocked back, which Gear 5 has a lot of knockbacks, you will heal. So you excellent sustain and a lot of things going for you overall. Then on top of that, he is a very balanced character, but he has a lot of people that he can destroy. So even if you don't directly counter them, like Hybrid Yamato, all you have to do is get rid of her shield, and you're generally able to fight her. You do have to watch out for her frostbite, but if you can get past that and get past her shield, you're going to win it. And you can even fight people like Onigashima Zoro. You do have to be careful if you give him color change, but we'll get into that a little bit later on in the video. Next, your healing off the knockback is also kind of a huge pro, because a lot of people, you do have damage reduction, so you have that to protect you, and you can heal on whenever you get hit from the Gear 5, so it will protect you. It helps you sustain in order to keep on fighting. Other than that, there would be better ways to heal. Sometimes I honestly think getting kills would be a better heal, but overall this is obviously does nothing but help you. So there's not too many knockbacks, but there are a large amount that do show up in the current meta. There used to be a lot more, in my opinion. Next up, you just destroy Gear 5. That's the last pro. At Gear 5, if you don't have the proper units to destroy Gear 5, he will take over the game and you won't be able to do nothing against it. So thank God we actually have this to kind of balance out and create a little more circle of life going on in the opbr meta. Alright you guys, next let's talk about some cons. What are some of his problems? So, he is very killable by his counters. And what do I mean by that? There are specific people, this is kind of move into my next thing, is status effects. Your counters are basically status effects. So people like Yamato with Frostbite can be problematic. Not always. I think Yamato is actually very manageable. But the people with the one-shot status effects, like Onigashima Nami, if she shocks you, you're going to die. If you get hit by Charlotte Perospero, if he candifies you, you're going to die. Even people like Stampede Boa Hancock, she's blue, if she petrifies you, you are going to die. So there's these people who generally have this everlasting status effect length that they can keep spamming their status effects to reapply, so you're unable to move and you won't be able to do anything and you will just end up dying from them. It is a killer, it is a bummer, but it is what it is. Now there are people like someone like Whitebeard, probably not as problematic, but for the most part there are those random status factors. Especially, I forgot, the worst of all is Uta. So there's someone like Uta. Be careful of those. I kind of get into those in the counters, and we'll talk about those later on and kind of emphasize a little bit more on how you should try and play against them. On top of that, you are basically, this one's kind of like a slowness thing. This is kind of one of his other cons, is just the fact that like your movement speed feels really slow. Maybe it's not actually, it probably is actually normal speed, but it feels really slow. And your basic attacks are kind of slower compared to the speed of many other units. So be on the lookout for that. You are a little bit slower, but you are able to get your stuff off rather quickly when, especially your skills actually go off decently fast, but just your basic attack. So when you're in a basic attack fight, just keep an eye out for that. That you'll kind of notice in this gameplay. I do kind of get beat out by the speed of basic attacks in certain fights. Alright, next up, let's talk about some characters you are strong against. Obviously, if I haven't mentioned it enough this video, it is going to be your Gear 5 Luffy. You are built to counter him. You are built to counter the people with defense buffs. Your skill 1 ignores defense, so anyone with a defense buff is going to be irrelevant. You have an attack buff that gives you 20%, so that's going to stack on top of that while ignoring defense, so you hit so hard with that skill 1. I really do think skill 1 is probably one of your better skills. Skill 2 obviously does a lot of one-shot, and you'll kind of notice in these videos as well that you'll see that it does plenty of damage. I think I hit for 4,400 or something, or 44,000, that's it. 44,000 at one point in time for a crit. It was kind of nutty. I don't think it was team boost, but anyways, Gear 5 Luffy. Other people like Blue Kaido, you'll notice a lot of these tend to have defense buffs. Anyone with the defense buff, so even someone potentially like Treble, if you can just get the hit on him, you can just wither him down below 50% HP, you'll get past his invincibility. He's actually a really good unit. The nice part, I really appreciate this unit, is because it allows them to be strong and allows you to play them, but you're not going to be absolutely useless and you're not overbearing. So there are people that you can play that will destroy them, and it kind of works out really well. So other people that you're kind of strong against are anyone who knocks you back. Like, there's fat people who knock you back. So someone like Zephyr actually kind of knocks you back a bunch. If he chooses to knock you back, they got to hit that on you. You have the Raid Kid, if anyone plays that anymore. You have Blue Kid and Law. You can actually fight really well because they have a defense buff, plus they have a good chunk of knockbacks, mainly Captain Kid. If he is Law, watch out for that because he does have the anti-heal. So be careful of that when you are fighting them. But you can definitely deal with them relatively easily. You just have to get past their invincibility. So just be careful, play it low and slow, and you'll be golden. I really do think King... We'll actually get into that in the tips and tricks later, so I'll hit that at the end. Lastly, let's talk about the character counters. I believe I've already kind of mentioned them to this entire video, but you have Blue Uta, she singes. You have Red Uta, she singes. You have Prospero, he candifies. You have Oninami, who turns you into getting shocked, and then you have Boa Hancock, who petrifies you. Many things to look out for. All of those will generally, you'll end up dead if you get hit by any of their status effects, and it's kind of unfortunate, but it works the way it works. So that's how the game is. Unfortunately, you could potentially run reduction of specific status effects on your metal sets, but I really don't think that's particularly worth in League Battle. Now, if you're fighting AVAs or if you're an AVA player, that could potentially be worth if you're fighting a specific unit like Uta. But if not, then I would just go with your full HP attack stats. That's kind of getting into that, but I will digress. Now, there are people, probably someone like Zephyr could actually deal damage against you and counter you, but if he keeps knocking you back, he won't actually do anything. So if he lands against his skills against you, he's probably not actually going to kill you. But if he's just one basic attacking you, he might actually be able to deal with you. So watch out for certain people who are strong against Devil Fruit users, because you will take fat damage. You don't have the most survivability, especially if they do not have knockbacks. All right, you guys, one thing I wanted to mention before I get into the metal suggestions is going to be the... like how you should really play him. Overall, when I first started playing him, you kind of just want to bum rush and keep going and go forward and go forward and go forward. Honestly, King is a very much like sit back, play it low and slow, try and get their invincibilities out when you're playing against them. You'll notice I actually play it really slow in these games. So it kind of allows the enemy to panic and mess it up. And then if you get that perfect dodge, that gives you a huge advantage because you have those 3 extra free dodges, which makes it so much more difficult for the enemy to fight you. Now, be careful about against those multi-hitters. That Captain Kid, you'll notice he shoots his arrows at you, which immediately eliminates your invincibility, which really hurts you. So you do kind of revolve on that invincibility when you have that flame up. Just keep in mind how many ticks of invincibility you have. Try and keep track of that so you can watch out. I kind of keep track of that a little bit in these gameplays, so it really does help. And then you can just kind of manage and maneuver your skills from there. Your cooldowns really aren't that bad. They're really nice. If you can get more cooldowns, skill 1's always nice to have back quickly, and then you can just wail on them from there. Your basic attacks really hurt anyways, so you can fight people like Big Mom and whatnot because you are immune to a flame, which helps you out a lot as well. So remember, low and slow. Use your skill 1 first if you can, and then go for skill 2 if you need to in order to finish them off. Try not to use skill 2 first. That is just kind of my other tip of the day. Alright, lastly, here's my chart for my metal guidance suggestions. As always, I have the triple Luffy set up there. Remember, you can always replace that Lucy event medal if you need to with a Zoro from Dressrosa if you have him, if you can get them. Remember, you don't have to own these characters, you just have to play with people who have them. These are a little bit outdated units, so it may become a little bit harder to come across, but it is possible if you don't own them. Otherwise, these sets, phenomenal high damage Luffy. Next up is going to be the Kaido skill. We have that current Kaido event medal, so if you're watching this currently as these events are going on, I strongly recommend getting any Kaido event medal that comes across because these are huge. Then you have the green Kaido, which they did give away for free a little bit ago. I think it was about like a year ago, roughly, or about half a year ago. They gave you a free green Kaido that allows you to get his metal set and metal fragments. Just a little note. Anyways, the Kaido set is huge. It gives you a lot of skill 1 cooldown, so you can keep spamming that and you'll go a long ways with it. Next up, which I think low-key might be my favorite. I don't have it entirely built out, but I think this one will be the best because really the main stats you need are either damage increase or damage reduction. This Katakuri set comes with damage reduction. You get the damage increase, and then you have the heal when you aflame a unit. You actually aflame so often because you heal it on your second 2 basic attacks, you have a 50% chance to aflame. Each time you do that, you could heal for 3% of your HP with that event smoothie medal. So if you are a little bit more veteran of a player, you don't have to be super veteran, but it wasn't too long ago. If you have that smoothie event medal, that will be huge, and being able to heal on the aflame will go a long ways, and I really think will help his survivability significantly. So I do want to recommend that set. It's a huge deal. You can swap out, if you don't have the 2 Katakuri medals, that's fine. You can swap out different Charlotte family members and see which one you think works best for you. Remember, skill 1 is perfectly fine. If you can go for damage increase or damage reduction, that was always perfect. I would generally go for those. Cooldowns are fine. You don't absolutely need them, though. The last one is going to be kind of like, if you are a newer player, hopefully you're watching this as these events are going on. I kind of wanted to like give you a hint. So if you want to go with that Jack medal plus that Kaido, and then if you want to some good tags, you can throw in kind of whatever Animal Kingdom pirate from there. There's a bunch of different, you have the Topi Ruffle, you have the other All-Stars, you have a bunch of different Kaidos. You can throw in whatever you need to fill in those tags. It will help, and it'll actually work out really, really well. So if you have any other Kaido, would be really good there. Between these 2 medal sets is a good starter kit, I think, in my opinion. If you don't, you can always go for random different straw hats, or if you have compare different warlords. It's kind of hard based off your account if you're a brand new player, because I don't know what all you're going to be working with. So if you can ideally focus on either Yonko, one of the Yonko families, Kaido, or Big Mom, any of the warlords, they kind of have some sets to go together, or some of the straw hats, mainly Luffy. But there's some Zoro sets that you can get together as well. It can work for you as well. So that's just some different suggestions and other options that you can go for. And if you guys need the sheet, it will be up on my Twitter or in my Discord as well. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you found this video helpful. Be sure to let me know in the comments how you feel about King and who honestly I should go for next, or who I should do a guide on next. I'm probably going to do Queen next, and we'll go from there. So anyways, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and if you can hit that bell, it would be significantly helpful for me. So anyways, that's all I have for you. I'm Puss. I'm going to be taking off. Yeah, hurry! Peace, beautiful people.